So let's proceed. What is the role of a project manager? Remember, it is always important to get the services of a project manager. And one of the functions of a project manager is to provide a statement of works. A statement of works provides a summary of what is expected in that project, in that you are able to know what the project is going to cover, so that at least you prepare the resources that are going to be used. They also participate fully in preparation of procurement documents and basically provide technical information that is considered very important when it comes to the expected outcome. They also prepare the various duties and responsibilities of the internal staffs who are going to work for that project. Then they also draw schedules on how they are going to receive goods and services that are going to be considered very critical for that project. They do what is called cost analysis, where they're able to ensure what is costly and what is not costly to the project so that they can implement. Communication also is very important. As a project manager, you need to have better communication skills that will help you to be able to talk to various stakeholders on various issues. Then we shall also talk about the inspection and acceptance committee. This is the committee that is responsible for ensuring that they check what comes into the organization and they're able to understand the quality aspects that are needed in the organization. So their main focus is to ensure that they check every item that comes into the organization, whether the items meet the set specifications or the requirements of the organization. And if it is for technical goods, they also sometimes can do tests. They can do tests to ascertain whether those items are really working or not. Once they ascertain that, then they give an acceptance certificate for purposes of giving the surety that they indeed did what was supposed to be done. Then the other thing, the disposal committee, we also have the disposal committee. And remember, the disposal committee is in charge of verifying what is supposed to be disposed of. Once they verify that this item is supposed to be disposed of, they also set a value for those items so that in the event they want to dispose of, they know exactly how much they are going to gather from those disposal products. Then they also set a price for those items that are going to be disposed. Once they do that, then they have to ensure that all items that are disposed are in line with the criteria of those organizations. Then we also have the disposal of asset form that all users who want to dispose their items must fill. Remember, we have some organizations where employees are very cunning. They might collude so that they maybe destroy some items and later they buy those items and then later they go and fix those items. So a disposal committee must have a chairman who is going to be the head of that disposal committee, and they must have members of that disposal committee so that maybe after every month, they must meet and be able to determine what is supposed to be disposed and what is not supposed to be disposed. Sometimes they can do site visits to ensure that they are sure that what they are going to dispose is disposable or unserviceable. Then we have the role of the users. Every department is a user department, regardless of where you are as an organization. For example, if you're in marketing, you can be a user where you want to use maybe photocopying papers. You want to use maybe inventory such as maybe computers and what have you. So as a user, you are the one who is supposed to raise a requisition for the products that you want to be used in your department. And these requisition must be approved by the head of that department, and it must be signed. Failure to do that, then the people in the store will not be able to process your requisition. In the event that thing is not in the store, then it is the work of the store guys to ensure that they forward the same to the procurement department, where now they have to do procurement. They must procure for those items. So the work of the user is very simple. Sometimes they participate in evaluation of tenders. They manage and monitor some of the reports that are very critical in the organization. They also prepare what is called technical specification. And when they are preparing for technical specification, they must work hand in hand with the procurement, functional procurement department, so that they give the technical requirement for technical goods. So then we also have the cabinet secretaries for various ministries. And here we are talking about the National Treasury. The National Treasury, remember, is the backbone when it comes to issues of finances. And as a cabinet secretary, you are the chairman of the board for that ministry. You are the one who is making critical decisions together with your board members. And you ensure that the ministries are working hand in hand in their day-to-day operations. So as a cabinet secretary, you play a very critical role in giving advice to what the ministries are doing. And sometimes you can liaise with the county government. But remember, in the county government, they also have their board. They also have their board. Then we have the Attorney General. Remember, the Attorney General is considered as the lawyer of the executive. So the work of the Attorney General is to authorize procurement for procurements or contracts that are above 5 billion shillings. So as an Attorney General, you are the legal advisor to government, in that you represent the government both at local and international procurement proceedings, because you must have the qualification of a judge or a lawyer or an advocate of the High Court. Then we also have what is called consortium buying. Consortium buying is very critical. This is because it is a collaborative arrangement where you have similar products that you want within the organization. Then because you have common user items that you want, you join together or you combine together for purposes of benefiting from what is called economies of scale. So different organizations enter into what is called consortium buying so that they can benefit. Remember, when you buy in bulk, you'll be able to have a bigger bargaining power, unlike a person who is going to buy as an individual. So most ministries always combine their requirements so that they can benefit from what is called consortium buying. So what are some of the benefits of consortium buying? Number one is economies of scale can be easily achieved. Then we can talk about low transaction cost, because at the end of the day, you will be given what is called discounts, and this will lead to reduction in transaction cost. It also reduces the process work and workloads. So once you buy on behalf of another organization, then it becomes very easy for you to reduce the process. Then we have better prices and shared expertise. Remember, these are different organizations that come together for a common purpose. So every organization have their own experts and they have their own knowledge that they have gathered over the years. Therefore, it will help them to be sharing knowledge. Then you have high quality experts. So you'll be able to get information that is required. And this will also translate to the quality of items that you are going to bring on board. Then you have lower supply risk. So consortium buying will help you to have low risk because every member has the knowledge that is required. However, we have various limitations. Number one, serving the needs of the majority is less. So it might become very difficult to serve the needs of the various consortia. Then we have setup cost is initially very high. Before you can start the engagement into consortium buying, it becomes very, very expensive even for the organization that is doing the consortium. Longer lead time because it takes a long time to negotiate, and that is very, very critical. Then we have issues of monitoring and communication. Sometimes it might be difficult because remember where we have many people doing business, sometimes it becomes very difficult because every person wants to dictate their own terms. Then we have issues of resistance that may lead to bad negotiations of contracts and might affect the whole process. Sometimes we have loss of supplier relationship because remember, these are different organizations that are coming together for a common good. Then we have procuring agents and asset disposal agent. Remember, an agent works on behalf of a certain organization. Then it means as you're working on behalf of a certain organization, you have to follow some rules and regulations that will govern you. So as a procuring agent, you can work for a particular entity. But before you work for that entity, there are some things that you have to have. A procuring entity should not appoint a procuring or asset disposal agent unless the procuring entity demonstrates lack of internal capacity. So you can only hire the services of an agent if you do not have internal capacity within your organization. The procuring entity provides evidence of inability. So you must provide evidence that you are not able to do what you're supposed to do. The procuring entity within 14 days after the appointment of an agent publicize the following: the name and address of the agent, the value of the contract, items and value of items to be procured, and the duration of the contract. Then the method of procurement that the agent is going to use is also very, very important. Then we also have what is called sector-specific procuring and disposal agency. So a procuring entity or procuring entity with common interest may establish a procuring agency at the national or county level. Remember the structure of government where we have the national government and we have the county government. So you can decide to have a sector-specific procuring agent who is going to procure goods on behalf of you for a certain specific item within the organization or sector-specific. For example, look at the case of KEMSA. Remember, KEMSA is a sector-specific for drugs. So they are the agents for drugs for government. Sometimes you can transfer procuring responsibility to another public entity or procuring agent. And the Act allows public entities to be able to do that. So for you to do that as a public entity, you must register the list of another state organ or public entity that is going to do that on your behalf, so that at least it is known and it is published in the list. Any question?